Well, we made it to Friday. Pretty fast week, actually. A lot of news to cover all week long. Of course, it is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. Be sure to wake up with us here on Illinois in Focus with the Center Square on YouTube. But you can also go to thecentersquare.com where you can find the Illinois page, get the latest headlines there, but you can also subscribe to the newsletter. All you got to do is click newsletter and fill it information. It's free, and you can wake up every morning in your inbox and you'll get the latest headlines. Not just from Illinois, but you can also get headlines from what's going on in Washington, D.C., because a lot of what we're seeing is just the interaction between a state like Illinois and the federal government now in control of the Republican Party with President Donald Trump at the helm. We're going to tackle several things today, of course, with Illinois in Focus. We'll revisit some comments that Illinois Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson had earlier this week when it comes to the president's using immigration customs enforcement to enforce federal immigration law and actually increasing the budget quite a bit heading into this one big beautiful bill. So he talked about how he wants to have investment in Chicago, not what he characterized as a private military force for Donald Trump. So we'll get to that in a moment. Also, we got to talk about the ongoing REV tax credits. The governor's office yesterday announced a business moving from Boston to Chicago, but the lithium battery maker is getting millions in tax credits through the Reimagining Electric Vehicles Illinois Act, which gives tax credits to certain makers in the EV space. WirePoints has an interesting take on that, so we'll share that coming up. Plus, if you've got State Farm home insurance, you're going to see some price increases, and State Farm putting out a statement saying, understanding the issues in Illinois. So the Bloomington-based insurance company getting some flack from consumer advocacy groups, but also Governor J.B. Pritzker. So that's what's coming up today on this Friday. A lot to tackle. It's going to be pretty quick as we've got some things to wrap up here before heading into the weekend. But it's right here each and every weekday with Illinois in Focus Daily. But also don't forget you can get the weekend edition. Just subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Search Illinois in Focus and you'll find us.
He is more committed to spending money to militarize his tenure as president than he is willing to actually invest in cities like Chicago.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson earlier this week talking about how President Donald Trump, instead of investing in Chicago, is increasing spending on border enforcement. This, as you see, the ongoing conflicts that protesters are bringing to the space where immigration officials are conducting immigration enforcement. This is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we break things down here in Illinois. Of course, over in California yesterday, a lot of troubling video coming out, including somebody who is now wanted for apparently opening up fire on ICE agents. The individual seen with a firearm in his hand, masked, and now the FBI is looking for this individual as there was tear gas thrown and all kinds of enforcement efforts being blocked by protesters, but obviously obviously not protesters. It's turned violent, especially as you've got other video from the ground there showing people throwing bricks through windows. And that's also something that's been alarming for people to see. So when you've got the increased attacks on immigration enforcement officers, obviously you've got some issues of personal safety and the ability for federal law enforcement to do their job, and that's something I think the increased funding for the Border Patrol is coming from. And you heard Tom Homan earlier this week say that they're looking to increase enforcement efforts by 7,000 a day, making it up to 7,000 a day, just to make up for all of the individuals who illegally crossed the border under the Biden administration. So the tensions are there, no question about it. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson asked about public safety and investments in Chicago. This was on, I believe, Wednesday when the mayor had this to say.
It's not one individual that can actually bring about that type of transformation, particularly at a time in which we're seeing these egregious, ungodly policies coming from the White House, where you have a president that is spending more money on a private security militarized force through ICE than other governments spend on their military, right? He's more committed to spending money to militarize
vehicles. This is reportedly from the LA area where they were enforcing immigration law at a facility, reportedly a cannabis growing operation. And a lot of people seeing video from this and also highlighting how, hey, there's kids there. There are kids running away from this particular facility. As ICE was on the scene, and people asking, well, why are kids there? If immigration officials are, enforcing immigration law. So that raises even more questions as well. But ultimately, the safety issue with somebody seemingly opening fire on law enforcement, and not seemingly, I mean, it's right there in video that's been shared widely on the internet. So you got to ask yourself, where's the best use of public dollars when it comes to law enforcement? Is to beef up law enforcement security around ICE enforcement efforts? Or is it to, go to what the Chicago mayor says is, violence intervention and ensuring that, these nonprofit groups get the funds to go out on the streets and to, mentor kids and such. So, again, the mayor earlier this week on Tuesday talked about, public safety in general, but he took a question on Tuesday from Chicago reporter William Kelly about his own personal law enforcement detail. Should Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson have his own personal detail of that size?
Would you and your wife Stacy be willing to cut your security detail from 150 sworn police officers and put those police officers back on the street where they can protect real Chicagoans?
So we're very proud of the work that we're doing collectively to ensure that our police officers have the resources that they need. As I've said repeatedly, it's policing and affordable housing, it's policing and youth employment, it's policing and mental and behavioral health care services. It's going to take all of us, the business community, the philanthropic community. We're working collectively with Cook County government, the state of Illinois, the state's attorney as well. The volume of cases that we are pushing towards the state's attorney so that we can continue to close out these cases as we really drill down with our detectives division as they solve crime, as they get the evidence over to the state's attorney, gives her the ability to make the prosecution so that we can continue to deter crime in the city of Chicago. That's the holistic approach that we're taking. Thank you.
So you won't
Next
be,
question.
you won't be cutting
Thank you.
security detail.
Thank you. We're going to go to
Didn't
Michael
answer
now.
the question as to if he would, give up his own personal security detail, protecting him and his family, and that's in Chicago. So again, just trying to square the circle, so to speak, of Johnson critical of Trump, alleging he is getting his own private military to do, his bidding, while, dodging questions about his own security as a Chicago elected official. Meanwhile, you've got the director of ICE, Todd Lyons, telling Fox Business that they've seen a dramatic increase in the number of violent threats against law enforcement in the immigration enforcement space. Let's pull this up here so you can hear what he has to say. Again, this was on Fox Networks.
Officers and agents do go out every day and put their lives on the line. The morale's never been higher within ICE. We have a secretary now that has our back. We have a president that's out there allowing us to do our law enforcement mission. But it's a scary number, Joey, to say, you have 700% increase in assaults on officers. That's what keeps me up at night. And I think the men and women of ICE, they are nervous, but they're brave. They're quality law enforcement officers and agents, and they go out there every day to do their job.
700% increase in these types of assaults on officers. And then again, you get to the rhetoric that's been used, calling it a private military force, as Johnson did. How does that feed into the increased threats to law enforcement for immigration enforcement? Something to watch, no question, and we'll be continuing to see if similar types of conflicts on the streets happen in Chicago, when it's expected to see more increased ICE enforcement efforts in the Windy City, where Homan said earlier this week that if sanctuary cities don't want ICE to help secure detainees from a county jail, then they're just going to put more ICE agents on the streets. And that's going to increase the number of people they take in for deportation. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every Friday morning, Thursday morning, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. We'll be back at it, obviously, here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Illinois continues to lure businesses to the land of Lincoln with tax incentives, and in particular, electrical battery manufacturers getting some tax carve-outs. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you can wake up with us each and every weekday morning here. But don't forget, you can get the headlines at thecentersquare.com. So yesterday, Governor J.B. Pritzker's office put out this message saying, Pure Lithium Corporation relocating companies to Illinois, and the Rev Tax Credits program is helping spur that on as the company looks to invest $46 million in new operations. So I want to just go through this because, one thing that you've got, obviously, is the tax credit question, and is that a way to go about picking winners and losers in the state of Illinois? We do have different tax credits for different industries. The more free market advocates say that you should just lower taxes for everybody, not select certain companies. The philosophy is, though, that if you select certain industries to give tax credits to, you're focusing on the possible investment of those targeted industries to come to a state like Illinois. So that seems to be the initiative behind the idea of carving out those tax credits for specific industries. Obviously, the Reimagining Electric Vehicles Act in Illinois, it gives tax credits to companies that are in that electric vehicle space. But let's read through what the governor's office had to say here. It says that Pritzker and the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, and next generation battery technology company Pure Lithium Corporation announced the company will relocate its entire operation from Boston to Chicago to supply the company's drive toward commercial production. Pure Lithium's $46 million investment, bolstered by the Reimagining Energy and Vehicles in Illinois program, will enable the company to manufacture the first commercially available lithium metal battery in Illinois, with plans to target the drone and defense, consumer electronics, grid scale energy storage systems, and electric vehicle markets, while supporting the state's clean energy economy. Pritzker said he's excited to welcome the team Pure Lithium to the state of Illinois, where they will be an excellent addition to the business landscape and burgeoning clean energy ecosystem. Their investments will not only create jobs and economic opportunity for our people here, but power the green revolution right here in Illinois. This, as you've got the question about energy and the new policies that the federal government's enacting to essentially limit federal tax subsidies and credits for people in this so-called space of green energy. The company is expected to open its new facility this year in Chicago, and the governor's office said, in the Fulton Market District, a growing hub for technology companies and corporate headquarters. You've got Pure Lithium's founder and CEO, Emily Bedoin. Anyways, our new facility in Chicago aligns with the company's long-term operation goals and safety strategy. This is a decisive step for the company's transition from pure research and development to scaling up for commercial production. This requires different technologies, different facilities, and different skill sets. And you can go on and read more about this. And it talks about the $46 million investments that the company's going to make to create 50 new jobs, getting those REV tax credits. And you can see the executed REV agreement linked here, which goes into all of the different REV agreements that have been made throughout the past few years here, including the Lion Electric manufacturing one. That was last year, January of 2024. Lion Electric was going to make school buses, and they have pretty much folded. Their stock is a penny stock now, so not necessarily going to see those credits go out, but you can also read the Goshen tax credit package there as well. So the governor heralding this decision to give tax credits to this company. But Wire Point's Mark Glennon, the editor over there, he said that this isn't a good deal. He says the reallocation bribe, the relocation bribe, he calls it, the tax credits, in this case is $4.4 million, according to a Crane's calculation under the REV program. So that's 50 new jobs for $4.4 million. $88,000 per job is what they estimate here. So 50 jobs worth all the headlines that this particular announcement got. Again, Mark Glennon sharing that, saying that Illinoisans pay top dollar again for just 50 new jobs promised by Pure Lithium. You can read that article as well. How are your tax incentives being used? We'll see these types of announcements, obviously, always, whenever they come out. And it's interesting to delve into those numbers to see just how many jobs are going to be produced and how much tax credits are going to go to that specific carved out industry, where some people say all you're doing is you're picking winners and losers instead of letting the markets dictate what should rise to the top. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning on Illinois in Focus Daily. One last segment, guys. Hang out. Home insurance company from Illinois increasing rates next month has consumer advocacy groups calling for oversight and reform. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and watch us live. This is the last segment of the live show this Friday morning. 2 other segments beforehand. But if you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, you can wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for Illinois in Focus, giving you what you need to know to start your day in the land of Lincoln. And a lot of stuff you can find here at the Center Square's YouTube page, but also don't forget to go to thecentersquare.com and sign up for the newsletter. All right, let's delve into this. State Farm Insurance putting out a statement yesterday. It's got people from across the space of consumer protection, and even Governor J.B. Pritzker condemning the rate increase here in Illinois. So let's go to State Farm's website, where they have they published this yesterday, and the Bloomington-based company saying, understanding the issues in Illinois. First, thank you for your trust in State Farm. We understand no one likes to see their insurance rates increase, and we don't take these decisions lightly. That's why we want to provide with some context around the approach in Illinois. where we are decreasing average auto insurance rates and increasing average home insurance rates. As a mutual company, State Farm is focused on serving its policyholders. Unlike companies with shareholders, our goal is not to maximize profits, but earn enough to maintain financial strength that also allows us to keep the promises that we make and support future growth. As we continue to adapt in changing conditions, we remain committed to providing the best possible value, service, and support. Thank you for allowing us to protect what matters to you. So an update on auto insurance rates. They lead with this. They say auto insurance rates in Illinois will decrease an average of 5.7%, with some consumers seeing reductions in premiums as much as 15%. Rates adjustments will apply to new and existing policies starting July 18th. 2025. So that's coming up just next week, next Friday. That decision is driven by trends projecting lower claims costs. So why are homeowner prices going up in Illinois? Homeowner insurance rates are on the rise in Illinois due to rising home replacement costs and more frequent severe weather events that are driving up the cost of frequency of claims. These changes reflect broader trends in loss patterns, and repair costs are necessary to help ensure that we can continue to provide reliable coverage to our policyholders. So you can see more here of their statements, and they talk about the top states reporting hail damage, and Illinois being in that with $638 million at number 2 for hail damage. Severe weather, all the other tornadoes and such, they say that this is all increasing the cost of repairing homes that is covered by insurance. So clearly they're State Farm working to educate, I guess, policyholders as to why they're going to see a rate increase. Now, how much is that rate increase? Illinois Public Interest Research Group, they put out a statement saying it's going to be $523 million across the board for homeowner insurance, as the increase is looking at about a 27% increase coming up. So State Farm, they say, PERG says that State Farm asserts the rates primarily driven by catastrophe losses caused by extreme weather, and they further break that down. But what they're ultimately doing here is that they want to have the Illinois Department of Insurance to have proper oversight and to have the Department of Insurance have the ability to review rates and have an authority over those rates and giving a thumbs up or thumbs down. Abe Scar with Illinois PERG said extreme weather events are wreaking havoc on American communities and disrupting insurance markets, and the impacts are particularly costly here in the Midwest. Illinois should not wait for the homeowners insurance market to reach crisis levels as it has in states such as Florida and California. It's time for the General Assembly to act. At a minimum, Illinois should empower the State Department of Insurance to reject or modify excessive rate hikes, a basic consumer protection that restricts that residents in almost every other state enjoy. So we've seen this debate here in Illinois where a measure being proposed by State Representative Will Guzzardi would ultimately require the Department of Insurance to review rate increases. Now, Illinois, we've got State Farm Insurance, right? I mean, that's a Bloomington-based company, a nationwide company. How much influence they have on a state like Illinois to not have that type of regulation come from the State House and the special interest involved there, who knows? But ultimately, you've got just the overall cost of things expected to go up. Governor J.B. Pritzker also putting out a statement yesterday on this, and he says that it's unfair and arbitrary. Governor Pritzker issuing this statement saying that I'm deeply concerned by State Farm Insurance's unfair and arbitrary insurance rate hike on Illinois homeowners. These increases are predicated on catastrophe loss numbers that are entirely inconsistent with the Illinois Department of Insurance's own analysis, indicating that State Farm is shifting out-of-state costs onto the homeowners in our state. Hardworking Illinoisans should not be paying more to protect beach houses in Florida. In addition to increased premiums, State Farm intends to raise out-of-pocket deductibles and reduced payouts for certain claims. In total, these changes will cost Illinois homeowners hundreds of additional dollars per year without a state-based justification of corresponding increase in protection. Over the past 6 years, our state economy has flourished, Pritzker said, based on transparent markets and fair competition. State Farm's actions are antithetical to the core principles that the Illinois business community is built on. He says that he's directing the Illinois Department of Insurance to take all available regulatory action to enforce the law and ensure a level playing field for Illinois homeowners. He's also calling on the General Assembly to enact legislation during veto session that prevents insurance companies from taking advantage of consumers through severe and unnecessary rate hikes like those proposed by State Farm. So that's where we're at on this. You might see this rate increase, and that's going to spur on a conversation at the State House to have more regulatory oversight of the insurance marketplace, where you've got an increase that's crazy exorbitant in Florida and California, and the insurance companies are saying, hey, that's all based off of increased costs for repairing things. And maybe that's an inflation issue too, right? I mean, the cost of labor obviously went up when everything else went up, including the cost of energy. So is the cost of repairing a roof after hail damage, or fixing this, that, or the other going up? Obviously it is. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for more Illinois in Focus Daily. That's all I got for you today, guys. In and out of these segments, we've got next week. I believe I'm going to be on the road a little bit, so you might see me inside the camper as I get that hooked up on a location somewhere. I'll share more of that with you guys. If you want to follow me anywhere, just follow Bishop on Air. You can find me on X. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. X is probably where I'm most active, just in the coverage of news. So you can find me at those locations. Again, just search Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way. All right, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I'm not sure how the weather's going to look where you're at. We're looking at the possibility of some showers here in central Illinois. It's always good to get rain. Fill those rain barrels up. All right, I got to get out of here. Have a wonderful Friday. We'll see you back here on Monday with more Illinois in Focus Daily.